The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French, and I'm a California native that transitioned to Las Vegas 19 years ago. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone, returning phone calls, and overall structure running a solid real estate business. Many of my competitors do not have the knowledge of how to write solid offers to legitimately have your offer looked at, and they work with a commission-first mentality. I will roll up my sleeves and work hard to find the right home for you regardless of the time it takes. Please call me directly 702-557-6176 to start the process of finding the right home for you. I'm available 7 days a week for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Oh yeah, this is Saturday. It's the French Workbench on a Saturday. We have a full crew in studio here today. And man, a lot of familiar faces back and ready to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the most real behind the scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs going on here in the big LV Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French, but I do have co-hosts. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. Let's go ahead and introduce our crew. We have Mr. Brett Ginnie.
What's going on, Dan French?
Brett Ginnie, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Just living the dream, bro. Just living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, man.
Dude, what's going on with your life, man? Anything new? I know your wife dropped you here, and you guys were you guys were jogging today together, or what was going on?
No, she had to go do she does these farmers markets, sell her trail balls.
Oh, okay.
So she sets up stands and does that on the weekends.
Your wife sells your balls.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
The day I signed that marriage certificate. Thank you. I'll be in town all week.
So you must get a lot of business then, huh?
Never ending, brother. Never ending. Oh, we're talking about so real estate. Yeah, it's been going well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Brett Ginnie. Also been introduced. Shannon Miller's back. Shannon, what's up? How are you?
Doing good. Saturday morning.
Anything going on in your life?
Are we really, Dan?
I just want to know.
Just average.
I mean,
on average, this is a big week.
As Rick Raines would say, is it just Oprah every day or what? Like Oprah
you know
Monday?
what's so funny?
It's more Maury.
No. Okay, so it's not last night, but the night before, my little one decided I want to sleep in bed with you. So we had a little sleepover. I woke up in the middle of the night. This is why I'm bringing this up, because you said Oprah. I had a dream. I woke up laughing so hard because Tony Robbins and Oprah came to me. We're like, you got this, you could do it. And then Tony said something and I just busted up. I woke up laughing and Oprah just stood in the background. So
who's Tony Robbins?
Just in real life, they work in tandem together.
Who's
Tony Robbins?
And just so everybody is aware, Dan is on one side. Hashtag facts.
And we have always the lovely Corinne Lujan. Corinne, what's going on?
Yeah. Thank you, Dan.
How is life, Corinne?
Life is great. I killed it in real estate this week. I had a great week in real estate. Not so good in my love life, but that's fine, apparently.
I want to ask you a question.
We're going to talk about that later in the women's section, right?
Women's section.
The women's business section. Women business owners.
So,
section.
Does this irritate you where you have like realtors put on there, I'm the top 20, and then they're like, hey, it's me. You know what I mean? Like they got that top 20 list for their office. Does that kind of annoy you a little bit, or is it more of like a motivator?
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
First of all, it's all smoke and mirrors.
It really
That's like
is.
if you go to LinkedIn, Brett Ginnie is the CEO of the Brett Ginnie Group.
Right?
I mean, that's all it is.
I love all other agents.
He just revealed himself, though.
Did.
I am.
Good for you.
I am the CEO of the Brett Ginnie Group.
Of the BJ.com.
Yep. That's right.
You guys,
BJ.
we're on one today.
All right, so Corinne,
Dan knows what I'm all
let's
about.
go ahead and move to our guest. Okay, our guest of honor, very knowledgeable, a lot more. He's a lot smarter than all of us in this room. I can say that for sure. Mr. Andrew Smith, Home Builder Research. What's going on, Andrew?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad. Another beautiful day in sunny Las Vegas.
Perfect weather, man.
So we brought Andrew on because I think a lot of people want to know, like, where's the land going and what a builder's thinking. So let's just put it in perspective. You know, this is not, he doesn't work for a builder, or he doesn't get into with like a specific builder like Lennar or Woodside Homes. You kind of go in and you have the meetings. You're part of the Builders Association. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm on the board of directors at the Southern Nevada Home Builders Association. I work with builders in terms of helping them know what's going on in the market amongst their competitors. I have weekly, monthly, quarterly reports that track sales, closings, permits, and basically we've been around for about 30 years here in town, so we've just kind of ingrained ourselves in that builder market to help them make decisions on what they're going to do.
Basically,
next.
data is the new oil, and you guys are the rig.
Well,
right?
Yeah, we've been lucky enough to kind of, like I say, we kind of got here early in the early 90s before Vegas really started taking off. And like I say, my father started the company back then and got ingrained in the builder community here. And we just been able to continue that relationship. And we offer something that we feel is unique to any other market really in the country in terms of that.
As far as the data information you guys provide?
Yeah, I mean, we have a nice setup where I'm able to track basically 98 to 99% of the active new home communities on a weekly basis. I get that.
And a lot of this is the builders working directly with you.
Right.
So it's established relationship that they have with the builders for decades.
Right.
Where they send you their information.
So they send me the information every week. I put it into a report and I spit it back out in a couple days out to whoever. It's open subscription to anybody, but pretty much every builder in town.
And what benefit? So coming from somebody who's not in the real estate, mortgage industry, all of that, what is that? What are you doing for them? What exactly, like, explain that part.
So they're saying, it's showing any new communities that have come online. It's showing where the activity's happening, what communities are selling, how many lots are available.
So developers and such will request your information and want to know what's going on, because then developers will kind of get an idea to predict in the future what they want to do based off of numbers.
Go ahead, Andrew. So go ahead.
So we use that information that we gather every week. Obviously, like I say, we've been compiling that for years now, and so we use that as a base then for developers or investment companies or whomever, land brokers, when they're putting deals together and they need a market study and say, what's been happening in these zip codes in these areas, what are the prices looking like, what's going to be built in the future, and basically any of that kind of stuff.
So what is the percentage of land? You were saying that there's a small percentage that home builders can use for land to build. Is that right?
Right. So yeah, like we kind of talked about, I think people who are relatively new to our market don't really understand the constraint of the land supply here in the valley.
Or the water. I get
Well-
that asked all the time. How do builders build all these houses?
Water, we're fine.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Let's make a note of that and get back to that
Please,
for sure,
yeah,
because that's a big thing that is always has been an issue and is coming even more to the forefront now. And the same thing goes with the land supply. So, like I said, people don't really understand that Vegas really is an island when it comes to land.
Yeah.
People fly into town and they see acres and acres of empty land and they think, they can just build wherever they want, but that's not true. You go to a place like Phoenix or Salt Lake or these other markets that Vegas is competing with in terms of economy and that sort of thing. Nevada has the highest percentage of federally owned land in the United States, and
Yes.
you go to Phoenix, you want to build some houses, you just go out to the edge of town, you find the farmer who owns that land and offer him a certain amount of money.
That's the way it is in most places. Yeah.
If he doesn't want to sell it to you, you go a couple miles further down and try the next
Whatever
guy.
townships let you buy and develop are the ones that prosper.
Right. So we don't have that luxury of so much private ownership of land. We are constrained to the mercy of the federal government because they're the ones who own and control all the land around Las Vegas. And they, particularly since the pandemic started, they really have not, I mean, if you ask builders, they weren't releasing land quick enough anyways, but now, especially with the pandemic, they have not been auctioning off those parcels even at a normal pace. I know there is an auction coming up this year, but
can you explain what an auction is? Because look, people don't understand how builders actually get that land. Are they paying for the land, or are they getting it through an auction?
So right now, okay, so if you look at Las Vegas from a new home building development perspective, you have your big master plans, right? So you've got Summerlin, you've got Cadence, you've got Sky Canyon, Inspirata, and those places. And those are all controlled by private companies. That's, the developers who set up those master plans, and the builders buy directly from them. Or the other thing is, and what's been happening a lot now because of this issue with the federal land not being available, is they'll just go around, try and locate some parcels. And what's been happening a lot lately that's sort of new is they're trying to put together multiple parcels that are next to each other that may have separate ownership, and they're trying to combine those pieces to make it work for a new home community.
Gotcha.
But in terms of the land auctions, yes. So the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, they have their auctions. I think usually they have one a year at least. Like I said, I know there's one coming up this summer, and they'll put out, before the auction, they'll put out a list of the parcels that they're going to auction. And, it could be, if you look at the map of Las Vegas, it could be like a 5-acre piece in the middle of the Southwest area, or a 2.5-acre piece here. Like it doesn't necessarily mean there's.
It doesn't have to be conducive with
It could be anything. It's not necessarily, 250 acres out on the outskirts of town.
Unlike Howard Hughes Corporation,
not
where it's all formulated for a reason.
Exactly.
Right.
So
basically the exact opposite of Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes was the one that started as Summerlin. Is that right? Is that what the situation was?
Summerlin is owned by the Howard Hughes Corporation.
Right.
So they control all of Summerlin now, and it goes all the way to.
They do the
to
same thing.
mountains.
They come out and they auction off as they say we're going to release a certain amount of acres or land every year, and they come out with an auction and builders build on it. Correct? Like they just had one.
I don't know for sure. I don't think it's really an auction situation. I think it's more of
they're making land available, and then
Right,
builders can
so-
come in and bid on it.
right,
So in
so
that sense, an
the-
auction, I guess.
they plan their villages.
Yeah.
What's going to be next, and then once the infrastructure and everything's all going, then they'll offer it up for.
Yes.
So my thing though is like Summerlin, we know is a premium. I mean, we've seen it $350 a square foot, right, on some of these homes, building like crazy.
That's cheap for new there.
It is. And so we were out there and we were looking at some of the construction going on. And I mean, they're just going right to the base of the mountain up there, right off of Charleston, maybe up towards Sky Hills. So they got a lot of area in there, like in between, let's say Summerlin, and that's more like North Las Vegas. Is there room that they're going to run out of room up in Summerlin, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, Summerlin.
Really?
So
Dude.
if
I
you,
was just there this morning.
Howard Hughes controls that for a reason.
so it goes basically from Lake Mead Boulevard is the northern boundary pretty much.
Yep.
Now, and it goes all the way down to
You know what Reverence is?
Russell, or even further south than that, and they own everything up to the mountains. So when you say that it's going up higher on the mountains now, it's going to keep going, like literally to the Howard Hughes owns everything between what's built now all the way up to the border of Red Rock national conservation area or
Which
whatever
is
it's called.
how much is left. I'm curious about that because they've been building like crazy, and it really has it's expanded in a big way, right? So how much more can they build? And how much more land do they already have?
They're not going to be done for a while. I mean,
So, and that's because they could release all of it at one time, but they intentionally don't. They purposely only strategically release certain amounts of land and lots for a reason. So they're developing all the way. I take my Jeep up there every weekend to go off-road.
Yeah.
And I can tell you just within the last 6 months, what used to take me half hour, 45 minutes to get back in there up by more of the Red Rock area. Now they have it all carved out for main roads going all the way back up there for future development.
Yeah, like I say, they own all of that. So.
I mean, it takes me 5 minutes there. What used to take me 45 minutes to get to.
That would be a shame. I mean,
It's crazy, dude. This is within 6 months.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Honestly, like as
crazy.
much as I love, and you all know, I love Summerlin. I live in my little bubble. I do my thing. But it would be sad to see it go too much further into Red Rock because that is part of one of our places where we get away.
Even as realtors, like, yay, there's going to be more stuff for me to sell and blah blah blah. But I live it here. I love it.
Dude,
here.
I've gone trail running through these areas for like where Mesa Ridge is.
Yeah.
I used to go trail running there for years, and now they're all $3 million homes.
I remember the 215. My dad and I were off-roading in our Jeep, and I was like, we came across this big graded area, and we're like, what is this? It was a freaking 215. There was nothing out there.
Wow.
So, but I would hope that we would like. I know that you talk about how the feds own most of the land, but I would hope that there's certain areas like Red Rock that we will conserve.
Well, of course, I mean that land is already protected. Like they can't encroach into that. But you got to keep in mind, Howard Hughes Corporation has owned this land for decades. It's not like a new thing. Like this has all been planned out from when Summerlin first started in 1989.
Wow, really interesting.
It's just
I'm telling
they're just
you,
continuing on going the next piece.
That's what I mean. They could have released all that land in 1989 if they wanted to technically, but they don't.
It doesn't make sense to do.
That's what I'm saying.
And
but
silly question:
but
who
even
are going to be buying these houses? We all know, but
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So listen, let's talk about Las Vegas in general. So a lot of data out there. So you have a lot of stuff. When you get into these meetings, what is some of these bullet points or things that maybe would have interest to people out there, the audience? When you're listening to the builders and getting at these builder meetings, is there anything that they would want to maybe know?
Well, yeah, just over the past couple years, the challenges that they've been facing with the pandemic, supply chain issues, it's been talked about ad nauseum in the media, and I don't even like saying that word anymore because it's just like, okay.
Have you heard anything about supply chain issues?
Yeah. But I mean, really, it is crazy. It started with, in late 2020, it started with things like washers and dryers. They couldn't get appliances, and then it became a worldwide shortage of glue that they use in the construction process, and then it's air conditioning condensers. That's another part of a lot of my clients are the subcontractors that work for the builders, and they can't supply the stuff, and then you've got builders who they've built the house, it's ready to close, but maybe, like I mentioned, they don't have cabinet doors in their kitchen, or they don't have a garage door. So the whole house is done, but they're still waiting for 2 months to get a garage door. So it's just sitting there, and the buyer can't move in, and everybody's kind of stuck. So
that's a big problem.
I think a huge problem.
It's a huge problem.
And so in relevance, we were talking about this before the show started, that kind of when people want to sit there and say, oh, well, builders, are they purposely kind of delaying things? Or are they purposely not building to keep the... No,
that's not
because it doesn't financially make sense for them. Like he's saying right here, if you got a house that's ready to close, in a sense, it's a liability until they sell it. Then it becomes an asset. In a sense, they've got all this money stuck, and it doesn't behoove them in any shape or form to sit there and hold on to land and hold on to a home and not finish it off and move as quickly as they can.
Exactly. I've even heard stories of, a local smaller builder renting a U-Haul and driving down to Arizona and stopping at every Home Depot and every Lowe's. And buying all the dishwashers and all the washers and dryers they can get because they can't get them.
Honestly, it's not even not just builders. I had resale a month ago where it was my seller and the buyer were fighting over whether the fridge stays because they know that it's
How
gonna,
hard it is.
Yeah.
how hard it is. Like
Well,
my seller's like, we need the fridge, and they're like, the buyer's going, we need the fridge.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
where am I going to get one?
It's going to take a while to get a fridge.
My
and
sister bought
I had
a
a-
house last year, and she still doesn't have her fridge.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be like,
Yeah.
leave the fridge, no problem, or we'll take
And
the
now-
fridge,
Yeah,
no
yep.
problem. Now they were fighting
shoot.
over this 10-year-old.
There weren't even conversation pieces.
No,
You know, yeah.
I had just had a girlfriend who, her and her husband bought a very large house, and they redid the whole thing. And the contractor, he actually got in his truck, drove to California to get the flooring that they wanted, and put it in the back of the truck, and drove it back because he's like, it'll save you $10,000 and months, and but that's what they're having to do. So
It's
which is
crazy.
really crazy.
Yeah, so like with your situation on the forecast, right, of where we see things headed, where do you see things heading as far as people buying, not people, but builders buying more land, and what do you see in the foreseeable future? Like, do you feel like it's going to continue to increase, like where builders are going to still buy at the same capacity or still build at the same capacity, or is it going to start to slow down based upon supply and demand? Because it feels like it's just going crazy.
Yeah, like I said, they've been operating at full capacity even before the pandemic hit, and it just sort of all came to a halt for a while, and then it blew up, as you guys know, with the sales after that. So they're just trying to keep up. I mean, we did what do we have here? Permits, 15,000 permits last year, and that's
Is that up?
a lot.
Is it
It was up. It was up almost 30% from the previous year, but
It's a lot.
they lost basically 2 months of activity in 2020, right?
Yeah.
And then if we go back historically, through the 90s, we were looking at 20,000 permits a year was the average.
No kidding.
And then you go to the wild times in the mid 2000s, and it was 38,000 in 1 year, I think, was the peak. And then it dropped down to only like 2,000 or 3,000 in the slow time.
Yeah,
So it really depends. Like when people say they're building, why are they building so much? It really kind of is all relative to when you got to town. If people moved here in 2011, there was nothing going on.
Nothing.
And now we're not even to the historical average yet.
That's why people
I
sit
did
there.
move here in 2011, and
I moved here in 2009,
The ghost town.
and that's why when I say there's 27 homes on the market. Yeah, I know that's low, but they don't really understand in contrast to how. When I moved here in 2009, when this town had less people and people moving out by the day versus moving in January 2009, I think there were like 13 or 14,000 homes on the market at any given time.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2,700.
Yeah.
And it,
I've been here, we moved here in 92. So I've seen this town, right? We came because it was booming, and the building was insane. Like you would go somewhere 1 week, and then all of a sudden the next you go a week, and all of a sudden there's a whole new housing development. And you're like, what? How did this happen? And it just kept compounding. And then we had the crash, and I don't think that everybody I knew was impacted by it. It was, it was awful. If you didn't live here prior and then going through it, it was
we were
terrible.
ground zero
But
here.
and so even for me, and I bought my first home in 2009 after the crash. But even though there was so many homes on the market, it was still really difficult for people like me who wasn't a cash buyer. So it was like back and forth,
because they're so cheap.
So it's like this, but there's like this play right now where it's nice to see that they're starting to build again. But then I also have the fear of don't do
know.
what we did the last time, because that was not.
Well, I think
right.
builders of all people are more aware of the mistakes that were made before, and that if anything, that's why people can kind of say they're not building enough homes on purpose.
Right.
No.
They're cautious of the last crash and their
Which is
moves
good.
on that.
Which is good. I'm
I
glad
agree.
they are.
I want to say something, Andrew. So we all know that the builders, I say they're the villain. I'm not going to say they're the villain, but they definitely they look out for themselves.
Freudian slip.
They're a business.
Whoopsie.
We know this. So my thing is that people think, well, prices of homes are just going crazy, right? They're passing these material costs directly to the consumer. So really, the builder's not really losing money. I know they have a tight budget. Everybody's just like, hey, we have to make it work. But is that true? I mean, that's why you see people are paying premiums. These lot premiums, is that really for compensating the material costs and the labor that they're having issues with.
It's really everything, right? And like you say, they are a business, and the majority of the builders you see around town are publicly traded national companies, so they're answering to shareholders. It's not just, Joe Smith builder.com who builds a neighborhood here and there. Like, we're dealing with multi-billion-dollar companies. So yeah,
That's why
they have to make money.
That's why when it takes a builder a year now to complete your home,
does.
that's why that year that you waited, your new home has gone up $100,000 in value.
Oh, yeah.
Because the new person is paying $100,000 more to make up for that.
Less than a year. My buyer
Yeah,
who
less
bought
than a
last
year.
June. Last June.
Yeah.
They moved in, so
wait,
bought in,
8 months?
got into contract in
Later?
2020, December 2020. That same model
Okay.
house,
Yeah.
that same base price is over $100,000
Wow.
more.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There you go.
So,
And like you say, it's everything, right? So it all goes back to the land constraint. Like I told Dan earlier, I track the land closings every single month, and I've seen the last 2-3 months a handful of builder purchases at over $1 million an acre, and we're not even talking Summerlin here. This is just your normal land in the Southwest, and that really is crazy,
wow.
$1 million an acre.
When I saw, and it wasn't that long ago, when I saw a $700,000 an acre in Summerlin, I was like, whoa, man, like this is
pushing
this is
it.
getting wild. And now all of a sudden we're talking $1 million
That's
an
cheap
acre
now, dude.
outside of a master plan.
Outside of Summerlin.
So
yeah.
You are not
So it all
selling
starts
Vegas
there.
right now, by the way.
Well,
You're scaring all of us.
And I'm just saying,
That's why he's the fact guy.
I'm just saying that, like I say, it all goes there, and then literally every single cost for on the builder side is going up. The labor there's an extreme shortage of labor, so what do they have to do? They got to pay people more to hang on to them, and then they are paying more for their materials, and then of course, that's just business, right? They're gonna hand it down to the buyer. It's just the way it is.
I think too, a lot of people, like especially the new generations, they're all about they're analytically driven, right? I mean, so bringing in data like this, it's not just, hey, go buy a house and we're the, happy-go-lucky people. They want to know what the facts are and what the data is. And so, looking at builders and building. So my perspective on buying a new home is you are out there and you're having challenges. We don't need to go over the redundance of supply and demand. We talk about it every week. But I want to talk about, you may have a better shot going with a builder, even though you're overpaying, not saying overpaying, but you're paying a premium, I would say, right, compared to other markets, because there's not as much competition. Like, you're not bidding as much against each other, right, on these new homes. Like, a lot of these existing homes right now, we see 15, 20, 25 offers on condos. And so you may have a better shot. We got a person here, I'm going to ask this question here or answer it. But VA buyers, the big part is VA and VA buyers out there trying to find a home. They have problems because there's a stigma or some type of situation with the seller that when they make these offers, they just bypass VA buyers. So going back to the new home situation, I feel that even though it's they're overly, say builders are passing that cost to consumers, they're still giving them a shot to get into a house potentially. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so let's take, for example, that buyer I had last week that was inquiring about that $300,000 condo that got an accepted offer at $350,000.
Oh my God.
How's that any different than paying $35,000 or $40,000
That's
for a
what
lot
I'm saying.
premium?
That's it.
Except with a lot premium, you're getting a new home.
Right. And
You're paying $50,000 over on a resale.
Are you seeing that too? Like, you've seen
Same thing.
The existing homes sales, because of the increase and all the overbidding, is almost the same as the new home.
With a lot premiums that they're charging.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
The new home price appreciation really was well behind the resale market up until the beginning of 2021.
It used to be a real easy sale. Of to go to resale.
I mean, it has to do as well with the type of product that they were putting on the market, but the new home prices were pretty flat and were actually trending downward for a few years because they were transitioning to more high density, smaller attached product types relative to the whole market. But then you saw in the beginning of 2021 that price appreciation graph just really took off, and the angle on that graph was starting to match the resale side of things a lot more closely.
That's the crazy thing about it, isn't it? is it used to be a really easy sale for, why should I go resell over new homes? I'm like, new homes, you can't ever replace new homes. It's a new home, but you're paying X months more for basically the same home in 1 or 2 communities over. Now, they're very competitive price for the same square feet. So why would you not go with a builder?
Yeah, you're
Right.
going, oh, I get a new home for $20,000
Yeah.
more. And I get whatever, I can pick whatever I want.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And I can,
So let's say this. So I want to kind of transition. So we talked a lot about the data. So your personal opinion on Las Vegas and buying into new. You've seen the transitions. What do you like most about Las Vegas?
Well, it's my hometown, and I've always come back. So I think I love the fact that it's a big city with a ton to do, but still small. Like I've lived in a lot of other cities, and
no place like Vegas, man.
But do you feel like it's small? Like I went and we had to go pick up a car because we had to pick up a car yesterday. And I'm telling you, the traffic on the 15 freeway, I'm looking at alternate routes. You know, I got Siri on the side. Like,
that's because you're on the I-15 on a Friday.
Yeah, don't do that. That's
well, so
On
let
Friday
me
afternoon,
explain.
man.
Because I got off and the traffic was so backed up on the side streets right next to the strip that it took me like an hour to get to somewhere. It takes me where it's like 25 minutes. I just feel like the traffic
sounds like Southern California.
I mean,
Is it not true?
What do you think?
I've gone 2
What do you
miles,
think,
2
Andrew?
hours on the 405. So
Yeah, no.
the
Coming
traffic
soon,
here is-
kids.
I mean, that's pushing a bread.
I definitely am not looking forward to more of that.
Coming
but
soon.
I stay in my little bubble. I live up on the north side of town, and it's a lot less crowded up there. But yeah, I mean, but still, it's still compared to other bigger cities,
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
still way more affordable,
Yep.
and the traffic isn't that bad
It's
compared to other places, and you still have options to
Yeah.
do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, but
Well-
Clark County is going to be 3 million, they say, by 2025.
Yeah.
You know, and I just feel that it's not just the traffic, it's just the congestion. Everywhere you go, it's building and congestion. I felt like when I came out here, I felt like I had some room. Like, I wasn't so claustrophobic. I feel claustrophobic sometimes
I
in
know,
the city,
yeah, I
man.
agree. When I go in, like I say, when I go into some parts of town, I'm like, man, I'm kind of glad I don't live
I don't know.
here.
When I go back to California and I go in a restaurant, it's like there's a 15-minute wait, man. I'm like, let's go to the other one.
And there's nowhere to
Forget
park.
it.
You know,
Right.
one of the
Yeah.
things
Nowhere to
15-minute
park.
wait for a
Parking
table?
used to be free, too.
Right. And you know what?
No
though? There really is. There's nothing. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, there's really nothing far in Vegas. There really. I mean, come on. It took me an hour to get somewhere one time, but on average, it's not that bad. Go to New York and go on their freeways. I was appalled. I'm like, wait, this is an actual. This is
Well,
what they call a freeway. We take care of our roads. We take care of our city. Like,
You're-
come
you're
on,
paying every-
let's not
agree.
play.
Yeah.
Like, no, there is a lot.
No,
of
you're right
benefit
about
here.
everything being close. I have clients all the time from out of state, and I'm, well, where do you want to be? It doesn't really matter. I just want to be within 15, 20 minutes of the strip. So you want the whole city.
Right.
I was driving.
You got to zone in on that, man.
I was driving yesterday, and I was talking to you, and actually I was driving, and I was like sitting here, and I was look over, and this California
Yeah, you were
driver-
telling me, you go, I was like, what the hell's
California
going on
driver
here?
just swoops right in front of this
Yeah.
car. This lady goes, and she's just like, and she's like, all of a sudden she gets on the side and she jumps on the side. Then she's got her boyfriend with another car.
Oh my gosh.
Because
The dude didn't know her boyfriend was behind. And he's describing all this as he's talking on the phone. He's like, dude, these people.
I was like, let me get my phone, because then he
I'm like,
speeds
get your
around
phone
her.
on, man.
No.
He speeds around her and he gets in front of that California driver, and then she's on the side of him and they're honking and he's like brake checking. I'm like, wow. People just don't
There's
like
a thing
California
for that.
drivers.
There's a term for that.
Down.
What
That's
do you
called
call it?
Road rage.
Road
Well,
rage.
no, there's something. There's something
That,
like that. Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's called crazy person.
That too. That too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's called don't mess with my posse, because I got my backup.
Right. So, Andrew, I want to go back to you. So, is there anything left that we didn't discuss that is important out there to the person out there maybe thinking about coming out here for land
Water.
or just builders?
You were going to
Let's talk about
water.
that.
Right.
I'm a Pisces, so
So-
talk about water.
So obviously it's a real issue, right? But what I think people need to understand, and the builders are trying to get this out there. The builders have been under water restrictions since 2003, right? We haven't had lawns in the front yard for 20 years, and I think Las Vegas is still the #1 water conservation place in the country.
Dude, our water bill is cheap, relatively speaking, for living in the desert.
Yes.
Although it is going up, Henderson's going up quite a bit, and also too, they're going to do away with all that actual grass.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the most of the water.
Yes.
Right. So that's the thing that people say about building. Where's the water coming from? Well, because it's a closed system, right? So any water that's being used in your home that's going down your drain is just going back into the system.
Yeah.
So, new
Sounds
homes
gross.
don't really.
We don't need to be doing any grassy areas except for the courses I golf on.
Right.
Well, I think they should come up with something like this,
I
where
love
it's
you,
like
Brad.
an automatic filtration system, where it's like you go take a shower and then it goes through a filtration system, it comes right back up, and you use the same water.
What
That would
about
be cool.
swimming
And
pools?
that's essentially
Swimming
what it is,
pools.
though, in Vegas, right? That's exactly what
Yeah.
we do. We take that
Yeah.
wastewater and we filter, we clean.
You
it,
guys
and then
know
it comes
I
out.
don't
who?
want that wastewater in my
You know
pool.
who an expert on water here though is Julian.
Jillian?
Yeah.
Jillian Bachelor?
Yeah, she's an expert. Like
She's an expert
Okay,
in a
well,
lot of things.
no,
No,
she is straight up.
I
Ask
understand.
her about her.
I'll talk
She'll
to
Well,
tell
her.
you.
we're talking to Andrew here, so
I'm just saying.
okay, Andrew. So go ahead and talk.
So
a
yeah,
little bit.
I just the Home Builders Association is trying to get the message out there that new home development is not where the water wasting is happening, or it's not straining the supply of water by adding new home development, because even they're not allowed to put turf in to begin with, right? So like they say, like the water district has been saying, the Southern Nevada Water Authority, what they're going after is the unused turf, in places like Summerlin and some of these other master plans that were planned out, and their codes were written 20 years ago, and they put in all this decorative grass. If what they say is if the only time it's getting walked on is when the lawnmower's on it, then it needs to go.
Okay.
And so
Cool.
they're incentivizing that to remove, but and if people are in an existing home and they have some turf, like some natural grass in their yard, they should get rid of it now, because that incentive where they're actually paying you to get rid of it, that's going away soon.
Yeah.
So,
Really?
I didn't
Yes.
even know that
Yes.
was a thing.
Yeah,
Why?
because I don't know.
Nothing lasts
You don't
forever,
sit on the
Brad.
city council?
No.
Oh.
But I do know for sure that that's going away in terms of them
Yeah.
paying you to get rid of it. Eventually now, because I think they just passed the law, or it just came into effect, eventually it's just going to be get rid of that grass.
Everybody should follow Southern
They're-
Southern Nevada Water Authority on Instagram, because
Yeah.
they do some great stuff.
That's
and I
good to know.
reposted that, dollars for your grass and all that.
But honestly, it's nice having the fake grass.
I like it. There's no maintenance.
It's
No
no
maintenance.
maintenance, and it's always green and pretty. Okay. All right.
All right, so let's move on here. I want to go ahead and say thank you to Andrew. And Andrew, we're going to talk a little bit more. I want you to also give your opinion on what we're talking about with these ladies. These ladies obviously want to bring up some topics related to business and entrepreneurs and I think career, right? Like, what's the importance of your significant other being a part of your career move or supporting it? And I don't know, maybe
We
you could-
both don't have significant others.
Yeah,
right
they
now.
want to talk
I'm
about
super single.
love and money.
Oh, what about actually the situation of like when you get dumped right before Valentine's Day? Go.
Well, number one, I didn't get dumped.
classy host right there.
Thank you so much. I didn't get dumped. That's not what happened.
That was me. That was me.
Oh, that was Corinne. I'm sorry.
That was Corinne. But
Sorry.
Throwing shade in the
we're
wrong corner,
We're
dude.
both pretty jaded at the moment.
Hold on, take two.
Okay.
Corinne.
Yes.
Take two.
Well, you know what? Here's the lesson I learned. All right. So love and money, whatever. Getting dumped 3 days, 4 days before Valentine's Day. Then the next day, I mean, like I took an $800,000 listing. They also bought over a $500,000 home. So that was $1 million day. And I'm thinking that was fabulous. But the thing is, it's like, and I think maybe not just business women. When I have a bad day in real estate, I can wallow by myself. I'm okay by myself. I'll curl up in a ball, leave me alone. I'm fine by myself. But when I have a win like that, and I'm like, yay, and there's nobody around to celebrate it with. That kind of sucks. I'm at that
You
point.
can call
in my
me
career.
and tell me about your
Yeah, we
wins
can.
anytime.
Well, I think that's true.
I'm always in your corner.
I mean, is
I
that
would-
true for you? We
No.
want to have somebody. I used to have my kids, but they grown now. So,
Yeah. Well, and
going
for
out for
me-
ice cream, no more.
and it was actually I was listening to YouTube. I was getting ready to come here, and there was a Tony Robbins thing that came on. He was
There's
talking
that Tony.
about
Wait, who's Tony Robbins?
I will cut your face off right
See,
now.
dude, her and cutting.
I dreamt
Remember
about
that.
him.
Remember
I dreamt,
that.
It was so weird.
Okay, go.
Anyways,
Go, girl.
So, but he was talking about how your internal mapping, right?
Yeah.
In my internal mapping, and you guys can look it up. My internal mapping says you're supposed to get married young, have babies young, and you're supposed to be together forever, right? But for me, what I found is I'm also very different from my family. Like, I'm very driven, very entrepreneurial. I am independent. I like to do my own thing. And after divorce and then clearly a failed relationship recently, no, I would rather go home and celebrate with myself. I have an amazing community of people, and you don't have to have a ring on your finger to celebrate with your family, right? Like I have a
Who has a
huge
ring
family
in
base.
these days, right?
I
Does
don't
anybody
have a
get
ring.
married anymore?
But I think
I will never.
money,
I know you don't.
Never again.
finance,
We're just together.
financial independence is great. That is the goal, I
think
think,
it's
for
super
many of us.
important.
I think for many women, especially, I don't know,
Yeah.
for my circle. But you have to attach an emotion to that money, to that
Were you the
financial-
one that
to
posted
success.
Judge Judy talking
Yes.
about
Judge Judy
basically
said,
the second
she
that
said-
you-
Did she actually
Yeah.
say something good?
She said
She did.
something awesome. She
Yeah.
said the minute a woman gives up her financial freedom,
to a man?
pause, it's over.
Yep.
And it's true.
In a
It is
relationship.
Hey,
true.
you want to know truth?
Yeah.
Made that mistake.
Yeah.
And it's
I think
awful.
we all do.
It is
We all
one
I'm
of the
coming from the
most-
male point of view, and
Yeah.
I think that's 100% correct.
It's
It is.
terrifying.
It is.
It's
Well, I think
terrifying.
you should actually impose a different rule.
Men
where
can't help ourselves. if we know
Women
our
actually
position.
take care
Well,
of the
vice
man.
versa. I think
Yeah.
it's vice
And
versa.
right,
Yep.
the woman should take care of the man, and I think that actually helps out a little bit. I'm not saying completely, but it should be a.
I think both
It's
need to have
different, though.
financial independence. They both need to have
Because
their own safety, right?
if
You
it
need- in case something happens.
if it ends, who's gonna far off better? The guy saying, "Okay, well, she's not taking care of me right now emotionally or feed whatever it is," or the woman where she's like, "I have no money to continue my lifestyle to pay my bills to like." I mean, it's
It
a
all-
huge difference, man.
Yeah, but it always comes down to who has the best lawyer too.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
and so who do you
literally
think gets a
is.
better attorney? The one with the money,
It
or the
really
one-
does.
No
Yeah.
joke.
So
No joke.
there you go. Case in point.
Yep. So you just and I think that's part of too. Women now, like in this day and age, and we talked about this before. We went from women being, the subordinate, and you're supposed to be there for your man. The man goes in and makes the money, and then there was a switch in our culture, right, where then it was women were. Take my bra off, screw men, and
I'm woman, here we
apart.
are.
And now we're in this, I think we've really moved into a better balance where we're realizing,
Yeah.
number one, we're all equal, right?
Yeah.
But having that independence, it is hard as a woman. It's really hard because we're told that you want to be able to trust that person and raise the family, and let's just be real. Listen, because I know some of you in this room all like have kids. The mom typically does majority of the raising with the children, right? Majority of the time and the things. So you put that pressure on top of business and then other relationships
Yeah.
and financial independence. And so it's a lot.
I'm going to come back and talk about something real quick. So I think you have to be able to help and support the other spouse, but to kind of answer kind of go off of what you guys are saying, you have to also be humble and put them before you if you want that person to succeed.
Well, I think
So what I'm saying is, let's say that she's in a career, you have to put her career up front and just maybe take a step back. And I think that's what's going to help people become more successful in relationships.
I'm going to assume
Go
for
it.
you.
Go.
I'm
I
going
wanna
to
hear what
assume
you
the
have to
role for a
say.
woman here,
Please do.
which is
That's
I
hot,
don't
Brett.
think that women think it's that much of a burden to have to do extra, come home and take
We're
care of the
used to
kids and
it.
do all these things. Right. I think you kind of just accept that as whatever it is. I think it comes down to basically having mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
And that's really like kind of how we settled things, which is now one other side starting to get a power struggle, and then both sides kind of realize that nobody wins in a power struggle on either side, and it's only going to be accomplished by having mutual respect. So it's not that the wife or the mother says, "Oh, I'm burdened with this much more than the man of doing this and that," you gladly accept it as your responsibility. It's just it needs to be respected.
Brett, I want to say
and when you
one
lose
thing.
that respect, I think that's when it really
Well,
starts to.
the results are in, and you're not the father.
Thank God, dude. Best news I've heard my whole life.
Oh my God, that was a good one. Tammy.
Amanda's
All right, so
got the balls.
listen.
Remember?
What I want to say, I'm gonna let you talk. Is so let's go back though because
You're not the father.
you're not the father. So we want to go back and kind of narrow this down to the career part of it though, because I think we're kind of getting off topic a little bit about like just the relationship part. I understand because it's Valentine's Day, but how it impacts people's career and like what you guys have gone through.
Well, it's not just Valentine's Day, and don't get me wrong. You know, when I don't need anyone to celebrate something, whatever. Okay, but I get into the point where me and my friend, women of my certain demographic, we want somebody.
It would be nice.
We don't need you. We want you.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So, you know.
Yeah, but would you rather take that or a $2 million listing?
Why can't I have both? And
It's
I
like
have both.
it's like this,
I have
Dan.
gotten both.
Do I need $1 million? No. Do I want $1 million? Absolutely yes.
Well, the reason I say that is because maybe you can't have it all at once. So for me, you got to pick and choose, but you can control the $2 million listing right now, right? So if you went out and got a $2 million listing, not saying it's like
I can buy whatever.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what though? Somebody, this
I
is
can
somebody
buy
in
him.
That's right.
previous
Sometimes that works
relationship-
too. This is Vegas.
Somebody in a previous relationship said, because I'm one of those. What I'm not quite sure. Fiery, and I have very.
you're the
high,
lady off of the X-Men.
Yes, and I have very, very high expectations of
She'll cut
myself
you.
in all different categories, right? And so, okay, if I'm not the most fit while also making all the money and being the best mom there's this part. And he said, you know what, Shan? He was like, you have to pick which categories are most important to you because you can't be 100 or a 10 in all of them. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. So what is most important? And honestly, for me personally, it is to be an amazing mother, give my kids a different life, build a business that's built on impact and be highly successful. And then below that would be a relationship. So and it could be a little bit jaded, obviously, because of my past relationships. But that's just
Yeah,
that's
but
personal
I
for
think
me.
it's part of it. But for your career, so let's ask this question, okay? And did your career take off when you had somebody supporting your career, or was it?
It took off when I
Well,
was alone.
Right, and see,
Mine
this
too.
is what I'm trying to say
Absolutely.
is you didn't have somebody to support you, and that's why it took off. It's very hard to have somebody support you and take off.
No, so I'm going to correct that actually, because I think if you're with the right person, they lift you up.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not what was happening. I was being dimmed and then judged and all, you know what I mean? And then you
If
start
anything, it
questioning
brought
yourself.
fuel to her fire.
When I left, I was like, I can be me. I am I'm a good human. I think I can do this.
Were you
right?
dim? Were you dimmed too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes,
They're both
yes.
shining stars. Dimmed way too
Yeah,
early.
It is. And,
super
and she's
shiny.
right though. Not to bag on men or anything like that. The supportive ones. My son-in-law is wonderful like that. He's very supportive to my daughter, and same. They're equal. But yeah, you can lift each other up. But
I do see lights flickering still for
Yeah.
both of you. I do. They're flickering. They're gonna
Is there
brighten
hope
up.
for me still,
There's
Dan?
definitely hope. It's flickering. Like I got a black. Like it's hitting me right here on my left eye.
Don't worry,
So-
baby.
You know
The
what?
party
If-
ain't over yet.
If you're seeing a flicker in me today after the past week that I've had, I'm gone, done.
Andrew,
dinner.
are you
Thank
seeing
so
a
much.
All you need to do is keep
Are
the
you seeing a
flicker
flicker,
going.
Andrew?
Definite flicker.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh gosh, I was so concerned, you guys. I needed you to actually tell me that because I wasn't aware
But I
within
think
myself.
to really to bring it to the business career aspect of it, women are always like, you can have it all. You're supposed to have it all. We have to work at being everything and all.
Everything and all.
And if for some, if that relationship, again, it's not a need, it's a want. When we get to a certain level in age and stage in our lives, it's a want, and
And that's how it should
Yeah.
be. Somebody should
It is,
enhance
it
your
is.
own happiness.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Like you should already be
absolutely.
happy and content.
Yeah.
And good
So
on
Brett
your
has things that I just smiling at his face here.
No,
so
I was just-
The mic
what's
literally
swinging on your
fell
face?
off.
I don't know.
What happened?
Brett, you got
What did
something
you
swinging
You
at your
might
face.
want to rephrase that, brother.
Oh, sorry.
You got something swinging in your face.
Sorry, I didn't know. So
Well, he was talking about his balls earlier. So.
Exactly.
So let's talk about
I
what you
don't
want
know,
to talk
man.
about.
It doesn't
Just
matter.
let
Did
it
you
swing at
warn
your face.
Andrew
okay, okay.
about this show?
Don't touch it.
Hey, it's okay. You've had a lot of things swing at your
Yeah,
face.
no
Go ahead.
worries, man. Oh,
Dan, you're on one today.
Go ahead, buddy.
I know. You hurt my feelings if I had any.
No, I know, but listen. Talk about real estate. Talk about crypto. What
Real
are you gonna talk
estate,
about?
I think we just kind of mentioned before. Still, there's only like 2,700 homes. I mean, the obvious is the obvious, which is we need more homes on the market.
Let's talk about this real quick. If you can kind of move back
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure.
So
I'll
go ahead
move
and bring
my
this
red
up.
head.
Bring this up for
This is a
everybody.
great stack in there.
If we can here.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to start up
So
here.
this is what the last month.
This is
of
January
Scroll back up.
2022.
Scroll back down a little bit.
All right, let's roll down here. Hold on.
Yep. All right. So there is a total of 2,500 sold and 2,900 new listings. So 350 more listings than sold, which is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
The average sold price is $435, and the average new listing price is $458. So, what, 35 grand more?
Yeah, it was at
25 grand
420. It
more?
was at 420 at the end of last year, and then what? In 1 month, we're
Yeah,
up
that's single
15?
family rent, and even condos.
Yeah, look at how high they are.
I mean, think about that. There was only 711 condo units sold last month, and there's only 720. So there was what, 16 more
Yeah.
new ones than have sold. That doesn't really. It's going to take a while before that starts getting more homes on.
yeah.
You know, I mean, 0.5 months supply. That's insane.
That's crazy.
That is.
That's insane, man.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
Like
So-
I can't even. I mean,
So look,
0.5
we
months.
obviously we
I've
talk
never
about
seen
it all
this.
the time. We're not going to go over the redundance of being that short supply, but again, I think the supply is going to open up our market. It's going to open up most markets. So I think that's going to be a big deal. Anything else you have to say about it?
not really about that, man. Same old, same old. The interest rates they haven't really gone up, have they?
So they have kind of been up and down
This week?
Just overall, right?
Okay.
Now, overall, like I'm say, start at the year they've been up, but this last week come down a little bit,
Yeah.
and they come back up. Here's what I can say is we're going to talk about VA buyers and the challenges. So some of the VA buyers that I deal with, they go out and they can't find a home, and I get them into contract, and it's been like 3 months, right? And they're just as
Yeah, I know.
qualified as anybody. I want to answer this question. So he says, "Hey guys, America West is offering me 2% towards closing costs if I use their in-house lender. Should I go with them or use Dan?" Okay, look, I'm not going to say use me because at the end of the day, it depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
I can say that builders, if you need the money, you need the money, right? So go use the builder's lender. But I do know that the builders carry that and build it into the rate because that's how they actually get that money to give it back.
That's what
to
I
you.
like about you, Dan. You tell the truth on that.
It's the truth.
That's not in your best interest to say that if that's not his situation. But
No, but if
You're
you
right
need the
about
money, you need the money. So,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, builders are in it to make money too. We
Yep.
talked about this, so it's really a give and take. If you're going to pay for it either in the rate over long term,
Yep.
or you're going to pay for it up front. You take your pick of where you're at. in
yeah,
life.
absolutely your situation.
Yep. So go ahead. Anything
Nothing
else?
lies for free, basically.
Yeah.
you know?
So to answer that question, hopefully I did. I just
Yeah.
want to say that. Thank you for the question, DJ. Also, I think VA buyers in general are through challenges right now, and we'll just brush over this,
Sure.
and you can bring this up. Is a lot of the selling agents don't want to deal with them because there's a misconception that they
Mm-hmm.
take longer to close, and that's not true. It's the appraisal process. If you have all your ducks in a row, you get that in place, right? There's no difference. Matter of fact, you have bots and you have artificial intelligence that's going into the VA department and pulling all the data
Yeah.
that we need as a lender. There is no excuse for anybody to not take a VA buyer in this market.
Yeah, it really is. I've had a listing agent tell me, "Oh, we don't want to take VA buyers." I'm like, well, "Why not?" And the same stigma.
Because my
same
seller doesn't want it. Who
misconceptions.
told your seller that?
Yeah, whatever.
They-
Well,
like, they're the one,
exactly.
you know,
And it's
we know
like
where that came
this,
from.
This hypocrisy of thank you for your service, but we don't want to sell you this home
Yep.
because you're a VA
Yeah.
buyer. You know what? I don't. My last seller was a third generation vet, and the buyer was a vet.
I've had
He
some
loved
sellers
it.
purposely.
Purposely
Look for that.
purposely
I did the
not
same
go
thing.
for a VA or purposely not
Yep.
I
accept a
purposely
VA buyer.
looked at when I sold my first house.
Yeah.
I mean, within 12 hours, I think I had 13 offers on it.
Yeah.
And I narrowed it down, and I got down to there was an FHA and then a VA, and it was between the two. And the only reason I didn't choose the VA was because the FHA, they had little kids, and I have little kids, single mom, right? But it was actually worked out perfectly because that was when the government shut down. So it did take a lot longer for those VA loans to go through back then. But it is true and let me ask you this, Dan, can somebody do not just a pre-approval through the VA, but actually get like it's approved, everything's ready to go. So that one, when they go and they put their offer in, with the seller,
Yeah.
that is basically same as cash, right? Like everything's already done, so now you just wait on appraisal and all those things, but same amount of time as anything else.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the seller is coaching the person that's selling the house,
The listing
The listing
agent.
agent.
the
seller's
selling
agent.
agent is coaching the person,
Absolutely.
saying, "Don't take this offer."
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're saying don't do it because you have to show all offers, but they're not promoting it, right? They're not saying, "Hey, this is VA buyers. This is the best loan program that's out there."
Yeah.
They're
in
almost
my
as
opinion.
good as cash. They're
Every VA buyer that I've dealt with is solid.
yes, exactly.
Great credit.
Exactly.
They got money in the bank.
Not to mention they're super easy to work with.
When they
Because
freaking
they're
fought for our
ex-military,
country.
and
They're
it's like,
freaking
I need this
military.
done. No questions.
Yeah.
No, why do I need? Oh, I need it. I need this, this, and this done. Boom. Here you
Well,
go.
and here's what I don't understand is you're going to discredit somebody because they have an opportunity to use a program that was given to them because they fought for our country
That's
or a
right.
part of it.
yeah. What have
Why
you done
would-
for our country?
Right.
You know?
Why would you discredit that? Right? That's the big thing.
Yeah.
They care more about
Yeah.
the quick return in their mind. From what I'm
Or that
hearing
it's
from you guys,
risky.
But that-
a quick return, and I just want to make my money right now. Versus, hey, even if it took you an extra week, but doing the right thing, because ultimately, the way I see it is how you show up in life is what you get back. And so even if it takes another week, you know what? In the long run, because you're a good freaking realtor and you're doing the right things, you're going to actually make more money than that guy.
I want to go over to Brett, so we got to keep going because we got to end the show here in about 5 minutes. So let's talk about
Crypto. I had some other things to talk about, but more importantly, I want to get across not a cool story, interesting story.
Go ahead.
I think everybody will like. So this week, they were able to arrest the hackers who hacked into a crypto trading
No.
platform called Bitfinex. And this hack happened in 2016, and they just now arrested them.
Really?
And if you look at the
Wow.
document that the FBI provided to the government on how they went about it, it's very interesting. So
How so?
what they basically did was these hackers, it was a husband and a wife that lived in New York.
This is where I was
Ironically, the husband went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I'm from.
Brett, we got to get through a show where you don't mention Wisconsin.
Okay, anyways. Well, I'm sorry.
Wisconsin.
I won't talk about Wisconsin
Cheesehead.
anymore.
They're
Cheesehead.
They're
Yeah,
not,
anyways,
they're
let's
not
get
in the
back to the
Super
story. Long and short of it is this. They were able to find a back end way into this trading platform back in 2016, and they hacked like 29,000 Bitcoin or whatever it was. And granted, Bitcoin wasn't the price it was now, but it was still quite a bit of money. And this is 2016. So these people were very sophisticated and very, very smart about how they went about concealing it, and they still got caught. Which is, if anything, it's a story about how relentless the government is. And when you think they're sleeping, they're not. And so the only movement that these people ever did, which is how the government eventually was able to track them, was one small movement of a small amount of that total Bitcoin 6 months later in the beginning of 2017. And then the way that they did that was they put it into a bunch of other accounts and then would buy things and then take back those things and all these different things to basically make it hard for you to find the continued flow of the trail line for the money.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they did all these things. They didn't touch any of this Bitcoin ever. It's been sitting there since 2016. So from one way or another, they were able to get enough evidence to get a search warrant to serve on this guy's cloud. They were able to search his cloud. So this is what I'm saying is the number one rule if you have a hard wallet or anything with crypto, which is never store your password anywhere online. Even if you save it in your email,
Having a little pink book.
as long as the cloud exists in
Yes,
any shape or
yes.
form, so as long as computers are on, period, your cloud can be accessed. So this guy had all his funds distributed into 2,000 wallets, different wallets. Wow. So I know why he did this, because there's no way you could handwrite out but what he did was when they were able to get the search warrant into his cloud, they were able to get into his cloud and find all 2,000 of the wallets and their secret password right next to each one of the wallets.
There's like
wow.
two parts.
So
to
they were
this.
able to go in. This is 4 or 5 years later when these people having, you think 4 years have gone by, you haven't moved any Bitcoin, have got away with this crime. And the FBI was on them the whole time.
Yep.
And long and short of it is they were able to get in, find their wallets, find their passwords, froze up all of their Bitcoin, and then went and arrested them the next day.
You know what? There's like two sides of me that says really cool, because obviously we talked about this the last time. Crypto is a whole, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're
working
super
on that.
amateur, right?
With
But
Brett.
so it's good to hear that. Number one, it is so hard because those people were very smart in what they did, but that the government is actually falling through.
Well-
but then now you have me paranoid about the freaking iCloud.
Well, here's the thing: is if anything, it's a story of you still cannot hack Bitcoin. The reason they didn't hack this person's Bitcoin to be able to retrieve their Bitcoin,
cloud.
they were able to hack and find out their password. So if they would have never been able to hack in and to find their password, they would have never been able to access it. So you can't hack Bitcoin, but what you can do is if you store it anywhere and online, anywhere, at any time in your life, and the government wants to find you, they'll find it.
Yeah, but I'll say this: I have a hard time holding on to one wallet, let alone 2,000.
That's why he had 2,000 and the passwords next to him. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because there's actually companies out there that will give you metal graves of your different passwords, because there's usually 9 or 12 words in these seeds for your password. And then they'll even send them to you in different phases and different, so that you're the only one that knows the identical number to match them all. And people will bury them into the ground.
I got one last question. How long do you think it's going to be before we have a chip to do everything in our finger or hand or something
Don't we
like
already
that?
have that?
Do we have
Yeah.
that? We already have
You
that?
got your vaccine, right?
Of course.
I'm just kidding. I won't go there.
No,
Don't
it's called
go
our
there.
phone. These things follow
I'm just
us
kidding,
everywhere.
everybody listening out there.
We
I'm
are.
not.
I mean, honestly, my watch, right? Just
All of these things
It's
follow
already-
us around.
it's tracking
Listen
me.
to
I
us.
want to make.
I actually thought
Brett-
about that the other day. I'm like, can I access? How can I look? How you have Find My Phone on your iPhone? I'm like, can you go back and actually find the history of where you were at?
Yes,
On it?
you can.
How?
So
Tell me how,
everything-
'cause I would-
yes.
Because
The
I
answer is-
actually need that. Will you tell me later? Tell me how to do it.
I'm
'Cause
not-
For legal purposes?
I just assume that anything online is accessible by the government if they
Yeah.
really want it, because they've got the smartest people and they got the relentless time and money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, everybody?
No, you were on fire today, though. That was great.
Hey, Mr. Andrew Smith, we really appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on. I want to
Thank you,
say
sir.
this, man. Is there
Thank you.
anything else you want to bring up? How could somebody actually be benefit from your services?
Just anybody who's wants to have the most accurate and timely information on the new home market. I mean,
I want to subscribe
that's
too.
honestly
Here's
where-
why:
Right.
developers
Where it comes from.
hire his services to get
Yeah.
their info to make informed decisions. So if developers are doing that, maybe it would be wise to get his information too.
Yeah, but the average person isn't going to reach out to you. Are
No,
they?
no,
Yeah,
I,
right.
I don't really deal with the public, and I do have a few real estate agents as clients, but not many.
He doesn't deal with peasants.
So how it's
Well, it's just they don't want to
I'm
pay
kidding,
for it.
dude.
They don't want to pay for it.
I know, dude. I'm just,
Did you just call me a peasant?
I am.
so, but you're
all
saying
good.
like who out there who is attracted to your services? Like, is it like a builder's corporation?
Builders and subcontractors that are looking to know their market share, that sort of thing. That's the two biggest areas that I deal with, and developers and investors that are looking.
Yeah,
for
I think it's data, man. Everything's data driven, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think
That's exactly the value in it.
I think that's the value. So guys, we're gonna end the show here. You guys have anything else to say? Brett, you got anything else to say, buddy?
No, man, I'm good.
You got nothing to say about nothing?
I'm usually pretty quiet. You know that.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm super excited about Tuesday night's guest.
Who's Tuesday?
I'm about to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We haven't even got done with Saturday's guests, and you already bring. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead. Just playing.
We've done
I'm just
finished
playing.
the meal and going into the next meal. So
Absolutely.
great to meet you. So Kim Allen, life coach of
Nice.
Power to Heal, the number 2 powertoheal.com. She's going to be with us on February 15th, right? The day after Valentine's Day. Now what? Now what?
Now what?
I like it.
I want to say too, that's actually a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. And a very good part as far as setting up the next show. That's a good idea.
Here's what we can name it:
Exactly.
Lucky in Love Part 2.
Unlucky.
We all just got
Unlucky
silent
in
because
love.
we're like, wait.
Brett, you are not the father.
Unlucky in Love.
I don't like it.
Unlucky in Love. Now what to
All right.
do?
Kim
Shannon.
excited.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
You guys, so I just want to say, you guys, Dan today, he's extra. And I
He's
love
very
it
extra.
so much. So thank you for showing up.
Absolutely. You, Corinne. What's going on?
That was
Anything?
it. No. We have a listing coming up. 800,000, Lone Mountain, and Buffalo.
Did you ever give me that address of
No,
that?
not yet. So
I guess you don't want to make money, huh?
No, I don't. Yeah, I've made
She
too
hates
much
it.
already last week. So
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I
Hit
guess.
me up. The Mendez
Well-
team at Keller Williams Realty.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Everybody's contact information is going to be at the bottom. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I also want to throw a shout out. And guys, Rick Raines, he's still a part of the show.
I know.
He's
we
the
missed
anchor of the
it.
show, and I'm going to say that if you guys need anybody that's looking for a landlord looking for property management, Rick Raines, Atlas Group, you guys need to check him out online. He will be back at some point. Much love to him. This guy was
Get
an
healthy,
anchor,
Rick.
and
He's amazing.
he's a great guy.
Rick's awesome, man.
So I wanted to throw that out.
Shows up
Also-
same without that guy.
Yeah, and also too, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the channel. We're trying to grow the channel. If you guys have any comments throughout the show, anybody that's on this list, please reach out to them, right, at the comment section. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys at the next one.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you for watching the French Workbench podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also,